Hello, and welcome to Live Vedanta, a podcast about simple living and high thinking, brought to you by Chinmay Mission Niagara. We're entering season 9 of our podcast, and we're continuing our series on essential love. Essential love refers to the 70 essential verses of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This ongoing series is also accompanied by an ebook that incorporates accessible translations and practical applications of each of the verses we talk about. It's a great way to add a little bit more dimension and depth to your experience of this podcast. Okay, before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to let you know that registration is now open for Chinmay Mission Niagara's weekly courses and spaces. Whether you're a parent, there's parenting culture on Monday evenings. Whether you are a kiddo who's in 5th grade, we have happy hour on Wednesdays. There's an in-depth space custom designed to help bring the ancient wisdom of Vedanta to life in your day-to-day experience. One class I'm looking forward to is our Foundation Vedanta course, taking place on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, which is a very structured class on the core concepts of Sanatana Dharma, and it follows a beautiful curriculum designed by the Chinmaya International Foundation. So, to learn more about what's being offered, visit chinmayaniagara.com and you'll be able to access the free registration link there. Okay, now, starting our season, we are now exploring chapter 7, verse 14 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. In this insight from chapter 7, Shri Krishna reassures us that while self-realization is difficult, it is absolutely attainable through grace and effort. By transcending ego and illusion through self-inquiry, independence, and surrender, we can steadily realize our true nature, lasting peace.
After verse 7, Shri Krishna shares some verses encouraging Prince Arjuna to see the essence. He points out to this and that and shares the essence of this and that is me. This is the seed for chapter 10, correct? That's great. But beyond the great is the greatest, and beyond the greatest is God. For us, Shri Krishna is sharing the essence. We're taking on the essence of the essence. We are now completing 25 out of 70 verses, not 25 out of 700 verses. The reason why attuning into the essence is important, because the essence is independent. God is independent of the greatest and the great. The great and greatest are dependent on God. The more you see the essence, the more independent you will become. Waves are dependent on the ocean, which is dependent on water. What is water dependent on? Nothing. Just that one intellectual map helps us to develop independence, to break out of ignorance. We ignore water by tuning into the ocean. We ignore the ocean by tuning into waves. All that Shri Krishna is sharing, he now shares, is difficult. He doesn't need to share this with us. We already know. But it's not impossible. Difficult, but not impossible. There's so many things in your life you thought were impossible, but then you went through them and you realized they were just difficult. There's so many people I'm looking at right now who thought it would be impossible to fight cancer, but it turned out to be difficult. Verse 14, a very famous verse. Daivi hyesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Joy. He, indeed, Esha, this, Gunamai, the gunas, which are an expression of Maya, Daivi, has the source of being divine. First quarter, a mind-blowing quarter. We studied in chapter 4 that our gunas are an expression of our varna. A synonym of varna is Maya. Maya in your books means illusion. Maya etymologically means not is. Offering more practical synonyms, Maya is the feeling of separation. When you go to work, when you go to a party, and there's this sense of that person's like that and that person's like that, this sense of division, understand Maya's on you heavily. And where does separation come from? The ego. But in this quarter, Shri Krishna is stating, which is rarely stated, beyond all of this is Deva, meaning awareness or spirit. So Maya is difficult, but Maya is not impossible. There is more to who you are than the ego. Mama Maya Duratyaya. It is difficult to go beyond Maya. Some have defined Maya as that which makes the impossible possible. And there's a truth to this. Our nature is joy, yet all of us have a low-grade level of stress or anxiety, correct? It's just there in the background. How is that possible? Now, there's another entity that makes the impossible possible, and that is Kripa. Grace also makes the impossible possible. Kripa is the cure to Maya. That's why so much of the earlier thought in this chapter is about being a seeker, is about the responsibility of a student. Third quarter, Mam eva ye prapadyante. For those who come to me. Prapadyante, we highlighted this in chapter 4, verse 11. Those who inquire into who they are. They are the ones who see through Maya. Inquire. Earlier in Meaningful Mornings, I had shared about Hakuna Maya. Remember? Hakuna means not. And here now the word Maya is used. At that time, I had referenced a bed, the nylons, but really, The Lion Sleeps Tonight is by a band called The Token. I know you don't care about this, but I care. I don't like to make mistakes, so I'm correcting that. Okay. Here's the final reflection from this verse. Mayam etam tarantite. Te means you. Taranti means cross. Cross over Maya. Cross over this seeming ocean of change and so on. You will cross over this Maya if you come to Shri Krishna. In our Narada Bhakti Sutra course, it's so lovely that there's this overlap. In verse 46, Rishi Narada proposes, Kahatarati, who is the one who crosses. And then he goes on to share 12 disciplines. If someone follows these 12 disciplines, they will be stronger than difficulty. The first discipline of these 12 is to be independent, to be less possessive of stuff, of people. And the 12th is surrendered. The one who has surrendered Maya. They've surrendered the sense that they're an individual. I will share more of these 12 disciplines. Please distill this verse too. Whatever negativity you're experiencing in life, it is difficult, but it's not impossible. Now, chapter 7. From dhyana to vijnana. In English, internalization. Shri Krishna is sharing more with us because he knows that habits die hard. Our ego has extreme defense mechanisms, so we can't contemplate. What do we do then? Internalize. In verse 3, Shri Krishna states the role of a human. The role for you is to be a seeker. In verse 3 particularly, being a seeker is not enough. One is to evolve to being a student, a shishya. A different dimension of discipline is to be invoked. In verse 3, there's the role. Then verse 7 is the responsibility. The responsibility of a seeker to become a student, their responsibility is Shri Krishna. Mattaha parataram na anyat. Since there is no higher presence than Shri Krishna, our responsibility is to make presence our purpose. I'm going to state that one more time so you're clear. You were not born to get a job. You were not born to have a family. You were not born to buy things and build things. Everything I just described, when you die, that's all going to die too. You were born with the responsibility to be a savior. One who's been saved from being born again. Internalization is not casual. This is not a hack. It's not meaningful hacks or morning hacks. Verse 14. What is holding us back from our role and responsibility? Maya. Maya is often described as meaninglessness. Meaninglessness. If I were to ask you, are you in Maya? Many would say no. But then if I were to ask you, did you experience some meaninglessness yesterday? Then you can relate to that more, correct? Meaninglessness feels like drowning. And that's why poetically Maya is described as an ocean. People tend not to drown in their bathtubs. For Vivek, as a swimmer, if I'm going to drown, it probably isn't going to be in a pool either. If it's going to be anywhere, it's going to be in an ocean. Weird example, but you get my point why it's poetically described as an ocean. Meaninglessness. And that's why this whole structure of Bhagavad Gita on intention or yoga is so practical.
If you've enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend. You can follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and of course on the Simplecast browser. This whole season of Essential Love is accompanied by an ebook by the same name. You can check out our show notes about how you can download the Essential Love ebook, which includes tools for deeper reflection on each of the verses. They go hand in hand. You can find all of this and more at chinmayaniagara.com. Until next time, inspire, love, be.